play. All right, welcome guys. Thank you so much for joining me this lovely, very dark afternoon in Bowling Green. I would like to go ahead and start screen sharing. I'll go over specifically your guys' work to get some feedback for you. So let me go ahead and get that screen share going. All right. Let me refresh. So Reagan, you were first on. Let's kind of take a look at where things stand for you. All right. Scroll down to where you are. Okay. Let me go ahead and open
That girl Sarah's going to be done the class in like a week and a half.
Yeah. Sarah was actually one of my interns last semester, and she already accepted her full-time job. Like she graduated.
Sarah, you're making us all look bad.
And so I was like, if you just want to keep working so that you can get to she just got hired at Houchins. Congrats, Sarah.
All right.
Go for it.
Awesome.
And then let's find your next assignment, Reagan. Okay, first let's take a look at your Pinterest. So as you were going through and pinning, did anything stand out to you about the culture? I know you're doing Busan, South Korea. So as you were pinning it, did you have any realizations?
I just like realized that they were really artsy and they had like a lot of events when it comes to film and cinema stuff. And then they have like a lot of nature stuff too.
Okay, a lot of the geography aspect. I'm seeing, as I'm looking at all three of these, a little bit of a pattern. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? There's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of color, but almost a really pastel color, but it's still quite vibrant for the area. It seems like maybe a cultural, traditional type color scheme with a lot of bright lights. What do you think?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing almost a palette starting to form. So let's take a look at your mind map. Very beautifully done, by the way. So just tell us a little bit that as you were working on your mind map, kind of some surprises that came to you and maybe how you could use that mind map as we start to go into the design process.
Well, there were a lot of like events that were really popular that I just didn't see earlier on.
Yeah.
And, like I didn't know they had hot springs and that they like used them as spas and stuff.
That's cool.
A lot of like random stuff I didn't know about.
Gotcha. And so do you think doing the mind map has changed maybe some of the content that you're planning to use as you develop your pieces?
I have a lot more to choose from.
Yeah, great. And have you turned anything else in? I think this is it so far, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let's go ahead and skip on down. I think Kimberly showed up next in class. So let's let Kimberly go next. I'm going to scroll back up. Look for Kimberly's posts. Tell me if I miss it. Kimberly, all right, let's go ahead and open this one up in a new tab. And then, all right, Kimberly. So talk to me a little bit about Havana and what you learned from pinning these geography, cultural, and traditional pins to your site.
Okay, so a little bit that I've learned about Havana is it's kind of like a time capsule because of their government and not issues, but they had a communist government, so they have a lot of embargoes. So they kind of their culture is still kind of like remained intact from years ago. So they have a lot of older cars and things like that, and different revenue ventures. Like so they're basically trying to get the tourists back in the country. but they have a lot of bright colors, and it's a beautiful country, what I could see from Pinterest and things like that.
Yeah. So as we take a look at your pins, is anything standing out to you that maybe you didn't initially think about when you thought about Havana?
I didn't realize that they were so interested in baseball. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. As I'm looking visually, so I take a look at these visual pieces here, and then I take a look here. Does anything kind of stand out to you? Are you seeing any repetition here?
Maybe the colors?
Yes. So kind of similar to Busan, a color scheme is starting to emerge. Now, unlike Busan, who kind of had those pastel light colors, I'm seeing a lot of really saturated, rich yellows, saturated, rich sea foams and greens and blues. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of these rich colors, but also paired with a slightly smokier, more earthen tone to go with it. And this is a really great example here. And over here, we've got a few earthen tones and then these amazing saturated pops of color. And so we see, you know, the architecture, but also the geography here in these nice pops of colors. But then when we go back and we look at culture, we're seeing them over and over again. These same yellows, these same hyper-saturated yellows, these great yellows paired with these natural colors. So that could be the start of the visual aspect for you. Do you kind of see that pattern a little bit?
Yes.
Great. All right, let's take a look at your mind map. So what did you discover? What did you think about Havana? And then once you dug deeper, did you discover anything that's going to influence your design or content?
Yeah, so what I've learned also with Havana, it has a lot of like African culture mix into it as well because of the slaves that came over. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
A fun fact, I didn't know that the conga line was invented or brought over to Cuba as well.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I like those aspects as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. Awesome. Anything else you want to add before I skip down to your next part of your assignment?
No, I think that's it.
Great. Looks good. All right. So let me skip on down. Kimberly. Here we go. Okay. So I know that I messaged you a little bit of feedback on this. Have you received it yet?
Yes, and I'm working on it to update it to make it better.
Gotcha. So do you want to kind of tell the group a little bit about your initial thinking and then how after doing a little bit more research, you're going to kind of transform your buyer persona?
Okay. Yes. So at first I was, with my research and things like that, on Pinterest, it actually had like a breakdown of like how much it costs to stay at hotels, flights, and things like that. So I used that as an aspect. And then also I looked up who is most likely to go to Havana.
Yeah.
And I learned that it was like people that like art, history, culture, things like that.
Yeah.
So, but I think I need to do, well, using your comments and things like that to better understand the age group and then the salary as well.
Yeah. So I would say you're off to a great start. I know I commented that your background I thought was really spot on just from the base level knowledge I have about traveling to Havana. I definitely think this is heading in certainly the right direction. We talked a little bit, just so everybody understands what's going on. 24-year-old single female is just a little bit young for solo travel to Havana. Havana is still seen as kind of a dangerous place. It is kind of difficult to travel there. It's not as easy as, say, traveling to Canada or London or even Paris. It can be very difficult still to travel there. The cheaper hotels are going to be the more dangerous hotels. So just for affordability versus safety, we talked about making Danielle just a little bit older, possibly not single. And then she would have a $44,000 income, but it would be combined with her spouse's income. So she could stay at a slightly more safe area or safer hotel. but the background from the cultural aspect I thought was really spot on. So that was a good job and good research behind that. Does that sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Have you posted anything else? I think that was all I have for me so far.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, it's Kelly, right?
Yes.
All right. Let me scroll back up to get to you. All right. And tell me if I skip over you.
Alrighty.
Kelly, let me open this one. And then, no, I've seen other work from Kelly, so let me just keep scrolling. Lots of K's in class. Kelly, Kelly, Kimberly. Okay, here we go. All right, so first let's take a look at your Pinterest. And you're doing Fez?
Yes.
Hey, I have been to Fez.
Oh my gosh, doing this research, it makes me want to go to Fez. It looks very interesting.
Kind of similar to Kimberly. If I was recommending Fez, I would not recommend a young woman go alone. I just would not do it.
I think I went with her. My lady was married and older.
Yeah. So
for her demographic.
Yeah. These are your tradition pins. We've got your culture pins. Lots going on here. And then we have your geography pins. So as we're looking at it, what pops out to you?
It's located in Africa. It like the other one is an old world type of city. They don't have any cars there. I guess that they travel by camel or donkey, I believe it is. That they have a lot of the old traditions intact, like all their stuff is handmade. There's a lot of artisans in the city who sell their materials. Yeah. They got a lot of old buildings. They have the oldest university in the world located in Fez. They have, as you've seen, like those religious buildings, like the mosques and stuff. They're all elaborately decorated. A lot of beautiful doors, beautiful tile work, stucco, a lot of bright colors. Another thing I didn't know that somebody traveling there needs to know is in their culture, women have to be dressed more conservative. It is hot over there, but they don't want their women in short shorts and tank tops. You have to have at least like a t-shirt with pant or shorts that at least come to cover your knees. And the tannery, that's what that thing with those big vats are. They tan hides. Yeah, the old-fashioned way. I guess now they're kind of they're using a little more chemicals, but they say it's a really rotten smell because they use pigeon poop and like urine.
It is the most pleasant smell I have ever smelled.
And they say when you're going through those tours, they give you mint to smell while you're walking through there because it's so bad.
They gave us cilantro, and to this day now I cannot eat cilantro.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so and a lot of bright colors. That's what really attracted me to it, is I really like the bright color scheme.
Yeah.
And I just love that it's such a artsy old city.
Gotcha. Well, you've already turned in your mood board, so we can kind of bounce from those visuals to your mood board, because I'm really seeing them. You know, I think you've captured a lot of the imagery of Fez and General Morocco. The only one I would update is this one, and it's a little cold gray.
Okay.
I would make it a little warmer. Keep it light, because you do need that really light neutral to kind of balance your more rich colors that you have here. But if
maybe like a yellow,
but like a pale, like a light,
yeah.
Not quite yellow.
Okay.
Really pale, almost like a vintage white.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can definitely see how you've taken your visuals from Pinterest and turned it into a style.
I really liked that project. I really enjoyed that one. I
Great.
thought that was cool.
And then because I've skipped over it just slightly, let's go back and you can talk to us about your mind map. So before you did your mind map, did you discover anything through the process of doing it that's going to enrich your content later on?
Yeah, mostly the color scheme, architecture, some of the landmarks. I forget what it was. Well, I like the doors. I think they're just really visually appealing, so I had to put one of them on. And I definitely wanted to let the person know that it is in the desert, so I got the camel on there.
Gotcha.
One was really important for a tourist to know that if they're going over there is they recommend using a tour guide, because with the city being like so densely populated and stuff, they say you can miss a lot of the really interesting things if you just try, or you can get lost.
Yeah.
They say it's really easy to get lost, so they recommend a tour guide, which I thought that is very helpful information somebody would want to know.
Cool.
Great.
Great. And then let's take a look at your buyer persona. All right. Tell me a little bit about your buyer persona.
Okay. I did pick an older married woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her salary was like $100,000, because I wanted to make sure she had enough money to fly overseas. Basically, anytime you get on an airplane, it's going to be expensive. And I made her want to explore a new culture. I made her kind of artsy and her husband a foodie. Mm-hmm. That way I could appeal to him as well.
Yeah.
And this project I wasn't like totally 100% sure is exactly what I was supposed to do.
Sure. I think you're doing it pretty right. You're kind of coming up with a person you can visualize in your mind that is your core demographic. And so I often tell people when they're thinking about developing their buyer persona and discovering who their core demographic is, they often say, well, I want everyone to come. I want this, to be very inclusive. I want anyone to come. But you only have a limited amount of marketing dollars. Everybody has a certain amount of money they're able to spend on graphic design and marketing. So if you try to target everyone, you're wasting a lot of money on people who absolutely will not travel to that location. So there's no real point in spending money on people who are just not that interested. Instead, you spend your money on your core demographic, most of your money on your core demographic, trying to get them to travel because they're most likely. So I often ask people to close their eyes and visualize a group of people that if they disappeared, it would destroy your business. You'd have no money. Okay. So, if I was thinking a really high-end CPA, and I have a high-end CPA as one of my personal clients, I would close my eyes and I would think, okay, if older, say 45 plus Caucasian business owners disappeared, that CPA would go out of business. Mm-hmm. So that's who their target is. And they're usually men, and they usually are in a very high income bracket. So you just kind of imagine, who is this person I want to communicate to? The reason we do a buyer persona rather than just write down, Caucasian men over 50 with an income of over $150,000 a year is we want to give a visual representation so we feel like we're communicating directly to a person. So as you make your brochures and your ads for Fez, think, would Grace like this? Like, would this appeal to Grace? And if the answer is no, you're going the wrong direction, right?
Got it. Okay.
If you think, oh no, Grace would not like that. There are some really, really extreme things that you can do in certain locations. Like whoever has, I don't know if it's Laos or Laos, There's some like really extreme, you have to get to this little city, you know, by horseback or whatever. You know, that's not going to appeal to a Grace.
Yeah.
Because Grace is going to be able to get to Fez on a train, right? Which is great. She's not going to backpack through the wilderness for 2 days.
Right. Okay.
So as you're thinking about what appeals to your person most, if the answer is, "Ooh, I don't think Grace would like that," you're going the wrong way.
Okay.
Does that
Got
make
it.
sense? And then,
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think I was on the right track then.
you are. Yeah, so you're on the right track. I would say Target is fine, and Verizon, Delta, those things, maybe a little less so, maybe something slightly more eclectic for her. And I can't tell you exactly what off of the top of my head, not an Earthbound, but maybe not necessarily Target either. She's probably more interested in artisan goods.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Got it.
If she makes $100,000 a year plus she's married, she has a pretty decent dual income. So, you know, she has the money to shop at places. Like, I'm still needing to shop at Target. Like, that's how it went for me.
Who doesn't love Target?
Who doesn't love Target? She's a little bit older. She probably has a slightly more refined. She can definitely afford handmade scarves that are ordered in. You know, she's maybe
like Neiman Marcus or something.
Not necessarily Neiman Marcus, but maybe like a boutique.
Okay.
And she probably goes to the farmer's market, you know?
Okay.
She definitely, I would say, shops at Whole Foods if she lives somewhere. Yeah, she lives in Denver. She shops at Whole Foods or that sort of popular World Trader, World Fair, Trader Joe's.
Okay. Yeah, Trader Joe's.
World Market, Trader Joe's, over a Target, if that makes sense. She can afford to go to World Market.
Okay.
She can afford to go to World Market, and that's more what she would be interested in. I don't know the little turtle thing.
That Shelly, my daughter give me that, so that's probably definitely not her. I think they well, actually it might be, it's like a clothes thing, and they like some of the money goes to rescuing the turtles.
It could work, yeah.
Okay.
So just try to imagine in your mind, Grace is 43 years old. She makes $100,000, and she's interested in going to Morocco. So like, what type of person is Grace? Right?
Okay. Got it.
And I would say she's definitely on the artier side. She probably doesn't care which airline she's flying.
Okay.
Because you don't always have a lot of options when you travel to Africa. I think I flew Air Morocco and Air Paris. So I'm not even sure if Delta flies in. I'm sure they do. I don't know if that's the main one. Not that there's a whole lot of choice, I don't think. Yeah. So she's probably interested in more cultural brands, if that makes sense. I think about a person. Do you know Christina Arnold?
Yes.
So some of my brands that are a little funkier, that require kind of that middle-aged buyer persona, I think a lot about Christina Arnold. With Christina, so I did something similar for a environmentalist nonprofit, and basically I wrote my buyer persona to be Christina Arnold. And then as I made, she doesn't know this, by the way, but as I made all of the ads, I thought, would this appeal to Christina Arnold? Would this headline attract Christina Arnold? You know, and that's okay. You know, I've done some brand work that teachers were the target audience. And my mom is a second grade teacher, and she is definitely that trope of a second grade teacher. Like, she definitely has her initials embroidered on stuff. She has like polka dot bags, you know, like.
Right.
So as I was working on that brand, I thought, would mom like this? Would mom like that? And I have some others where, like, I try to think of a person that I know and try never to make it yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you lose flexibility, right? People are like, I don't like this. And it becomes about me and my personal taste. This is more of a general, you know, it's putting a face that you can communicate to, if that makes sense.
but without being too personal.
Right.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so I would say you're really close. I would reevaluate this, and reevaluate
Okay.
is important because, like, if you look at World Market, you know, why would Grace go to World Market? Well, she likes that eclectic stuff. She likes that, you know, specialty, handicraft, money's going back to the artisans, you know, that sort of thing. So that'll influence, of course, the type of content that you will use next week, but also kind of the aesthetic qualities.
Okay.
Makes sense. Like, what aesthetic qualities and brands appeal to Grace?
Got it.
Cool?
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. I think we've covered everybody who is in here right now. Reagan, did we cover this? We did cover this, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me before we log off for today?
Nope.
No? I will cover really quickly kind of a little bit of what's going on next week.
And after I finally got the hang of this site, the board site that you use, I like it. It's simple and easy.
Yeah. So much better than Blackboard.
It really is, yes.
But I would definitely say Basecamp is used a lot in our industry. And so I prefer working with it because that's actually a skill that's transferable.
Okay.
So as we go into next week, you know, we're finalizing the color scheme. So you're already visiting your color schemes. As you're working on your mood boards, that should make your color schemes start to really pop out for you. And then we'll be finalizing them next week. There's a little post here I'd like you guys to work on. And then we're going to move into the logo. If you've never created a logo before, I have some logo makers for you because I know not everyone in this course is a graphic designer. Those who are graphic designers are certainly welcome to use Adobe Illustrator. If you don't have Adobe Illustrator or you've never made a logo before, if you're not here to do graphic design but more understand the graphic design process, I would recommend for now working with one of these editors. I would like you guys to think about how you can keep it simple, keep it relevant, incorporate tradition or possibly geography, depending on your location. Make it distinct, make it memorable, think small. So, you know, you got to think your logo can be blown up on the side of a billboard, or it can be as teeny tiny as a little Instagram icon. Just, you know how tiny the little Instagram icons are now. So, you know, will it look like fuzz, you know, or will it look like a logo when it's on Instagram? And then, you know, focusing on one thing. So, for example, Fez, you know, you can't have a Campbell and a minaret and a dancer and, you know, a donkey and a, you know, what is that one thing that just truly represents, you know, Fez or Busan or, Kimberly, I'm blanking on your country right now. What was it?
Cuba.
What?
Cuba.
Cuba, right. So what is that one thing? And that one thing has to appeal to your primary buyer persona, right? So if you're like, ooh, Grace would hate, I don't know what that thing Grace, you know, would hate, the Marjan, right? Do you know what the Marjan is?
I don't think so.
The Walmart of rock,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So the Marjan, like, that's not gonna appeal to Grace. So
Yeah.
not that you could make the Marjan necessarily a very good logo. You couldn't, but if you could,
That'd be copyright.
right, is not the thing that you would choose because she doesn't really care about fast markets. She's going to care more about the artisan and what she can find in the Medina, which is the old city, as opposed to the Ville Nouvelle, which is the new city. So think about what's really going to appeal to your primary market and what's really going to communicate, you know, this is Havana, this is Fez, this is Busan. So, I'd say by then you're pretty much caught up. Any questions? And then I'm going to sign off.
Nope.
All right. Feel free to text me, email me anytime. I'm around. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for paying attention all this time.
Have a good one. Have a good weekend.